That was pretty good.
I know this is why you work with me. This is why you work with me. This is why you work with me. I cracked a little. This is why you work with me.
Yes.
So Carson, I'm just gonna start off this Talks with T
Okay.
with a great question.
All right.
What is the best compliment you've ever gotten in your life? Don't think too hard.
I don't know. Is there a compliment that comes to your mind?
About you?
No.
Oh, about me.
About you, yeah.
Okay, so a little backstory before that
Okay.
is like growing up, obviously you know Christopher.
Yes.
Christopher's like a father to me. Because my dad left if you haven't gotten it by now, if you haven't been on my journey. So
right.
Christopher growing up, this story has a meaning behind it. Used to say words to me like, you're extraordinary, you're exquisite. And I used to one day I asked him, why don't you just call me beautiful? Why do you keep using these big ass words? And his response was, because I want you to know the value is much higher than basic words. So if a man specifically ever comes up to you, because, girls, you're going to get guys that are going to be like, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. But he wanted to show me my worth and value was far greater than something basic. So when I hear words right away off the bat that I've never heard, or compliments that aren't your basic everyday compliments, I'm very drawn by that. And so today specifically, I was told I look exotic. And it caught me off guard because the person saying it, I did not expect that to come out of them. And they were like, what is your nationality? And I'm like, well, I'm Russian. He's like, no, there's something else. You don't look Russian. I go, well, I'm also Georgian. No, I still don't see it. You look exotic though. And I was like, oh. And I've been called that before. But this was I haven't been called that in a long time. And I was like, oh. So I feel like that's actually a good compliment because I'm like,
did she specify what specifically made you exotic, or she was just like,
well, I told her that I was like, well, to be fair, well, it was two people, so it was a her and a he. Okay. And so the guy was like, no, you look exotic. The girl though was Russian, and she was like, well, I don't see it either. And so I said, I've gotten Spanish before, especially when I slick my hair back and have hoops in. I feel don't you think that? I don't know. I feel like
no.
I've gotten that so many times. When I used to work at the garden, I used to slick it back in. For work, I went somewhere recently and they spoke to me in Spanish as if I knew Spanish. And I was like, which I do to a certain extent, but slow down. I can't, I also lost it ever since I came back from Spain. So I was like, okay. But they're like, oh, you're not Spanish. You look Spanish. Alejandra told me that because back in Boston, I used to hang out with all the Spanish people. And so Ali said that if I was Spanish, I would be Venezuelan because they're paler. So that's that. But to answer your question, they still when I told them, is it because I look Spanish? They're like, we could definitely see Spanish in you, but still you just look exotic. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I think that's a great compliment. It's out of this world.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a little thing that you got to know is I don't look Russian. I think Irakli looks Russian. And Lasha looks Georgian. Russian. You think I look Russian?
Yeah.
I feel once you know I'm Russian, then it's oh, yes. Because every time I've said it afterwards, they're like, oh, I could see that now. I think I'm starting, but I'm feeling as I get older, I look more and more like my mom. Like when I was a kid, I got Chinese a lot because like so the thing about Georgian is like they have like they were conquered by Mongolians, so there's like Mongolian blood. Not conquered, but there were a lot of Mongolians there. And so we have like the Asian eyes. When I was a kid, I literally had like people didn't know what Georgia was. So when they asked me, they were like, "Is your dad Chinese?" And I'm like, "Yes. Yes, he is." Because I didn't know how to answer that question. I was like, "Yeah, he's Chinese." Like, and then I was like, "No." I like really started taking pride that I'm Georgian, but I guess I look Russian.
Yeah, you look Russian.
I don't know. You heard it now. I'm Russian. You heard it from Carson alone. I look Russian.
Yep.
You're just a mix. Because
I was the determining factor. If you were Russian, the whole council was waiting for my vote.
You are technically like on my team. So if you say it, that's
yes. But what I'm saying is like there's no Russian council that's like Carson's our guy. Like he'll determine.
You could. I used to tell Carson he looks like my uncle.
Thanks.
Like the blue eyes. Okay, so Carson had like shaved his head once. And I literally was like, you cannot do that again. I mean, God, like, you'll look like my uncle. Like, my uncle Mikhail, you looked like him.
Yeah, because that was the number one determining thing.
That's what you told your barber.
Was like, I was like, Teona's got this uncle. And he's like, who is Teona? And I was like, so she's got this uncle.
He's my inspiration.
And he's my inspiration. Do you have a picture? No. Like, you should know. you should know, like...
I just think like you did a good job though. Maybe that's why I felt safer with you because you reminded me of home.
Oh, okay. I like how you're like, oh, that I felt a lot safer, but also never do that ever again.
Well, you can. I think like I'm gonna be like Misha.
I've had so many people be like, never do that ever. Like
I didn't think it was a bad look.
I didn't think it was bad. Like I didn't think it was terrible.
You look more mature in a sense of older. Like it gave you an older look. I feel like it's the same thing with when I cut my hair short. Everyone's response was it didn't look bad. I just looked older, not in like old, like in an old witchy way, like old, like, oh, she looks like mature. Like she looks more like in that sense, which I liked my hair when Bianna cut it that way. Like as I got my hair cut by someone years ago that did it short and I hated it. I cried. So I was scared to go short again.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Bianna, you could only touch my hair. I always say it to Bianna. Let Bianna touch your hair. She'll do a good job. I love her.
Yeah.
That's my girl.
Maybe I need to go back to the shaved because people are like, high school? And I'm like, no.
No, I think it looks good.
Okay.
I do. I think I like you with this.
With this?
With this hair.
Okay.
It looks good. It's giving like... don't want to say it, but like it's giving like F-boy, but in a good way.
Oh, thanks.
Like,
the video that I have, well, had come out this past Friday, but the wind was so crazy, I basically had a mohawk the whole video unintentionally.
Wait, speaking of that video.
Yeah.
I wanted to post it.
What does that mean?
With no context. Like the one that JT posted?
Yeah.
I felt like people were going to think that we came out with that song. It's just you. But JT did such a good job.
Yeah.
JT, if you're watching.
Why are you speaking about him like he's like 6? You're like, oh, he did it.
No, he did such an like I actually like he filmed it too, right?
He did everything.
Phenomenal job, JT. Like I was like, you know why? Because he's so talented, but he doesn't give himself credit for it. Like he's so like when I saw that video, I was like, no, like my mouth dropped. I was at work, JT. So freaking good. You picked an amazing location. I'm actually gonna might go to that location for one thing. But
I think you're gonna be miserable at that location.
I think that beauty is pain. And we gotta do it.
I'm still picking out foxtails out of my shoes.
I think that
I filmed this like 2.5 weeks ago.
I know, but it's just like you know what I see in that vibe?
Yeah.
Alive. I see that. Like I don't know why, because I just do. JT, hi, we're gonna need you. After seeing that, I was like, JT, what are we doing? Like JT's the one. Like he's been the one. Like he just does it all. And you don't think you're good. You're phenomenal. 10 out of 10. I am a good person, a kind person, but I'm an honest person, and sometimes that's not good for people. I was mesmerized by your work, from your piano playing to your videography. Good job. You left me speechless. Anyways, we're going to go there. And I know a lot of people are like, what is she talking about? Alive. Just wait. Just wait. Because me and Carson have been working, grinding, hustling. I always do this when I talk to you.
I know.
But we have. And Carson, is there anything you want to say about our work?
No, I don't like talking about it.
He doesn't. He hates me for that because like
I don't hate you. That's very extreme. I have my preference. You have yours.
Yeah, my preference is I like to talk. I don't like to give too much
I mean,
away.
actually, let's backpedal. I do kind of hate you. Where can we start? So,
what was the worst thing? Oh my god! Oh my god.
What?
Well, I thought that my boss was calling me, but he's not.
I thought you were more surprised that I just put my bare feet up on your podcast.
No, I don't care. I don't care. Carson, like,
if anything, that's gonna get you more viewers.
Yeah, with the feet content.
Well, I mean, I usually sell them. I usually like people are paying a lot of money for my feet. And then I just kind of gave them a little glimpse, a little tease for free.
Is this your OnlyFans?
Yeah, OnlyFans. I do a couple of sites, because OnlyFans is good for like some audiences, but then I'm sorry.
I one time proposed to Carson.
I was kind of like I was like, you should do it, but just for singing. Like
he literally went. Well, I proposed it as a joke, and then like months later, the joke died. Like the joke it just died. Like it was done. Granted, Carson didn't think it was that funny. So like months later.
Well, because you just pitched it as like you're just gonna go up and
I would twerk to my own song, like Monster, like which is like the saddest song.
Yeah, it's like you can't even twerk to that song.
Yeah, that's the joke. But that was the joke.
Yeah.
Months later, he goes, Teona, and this is not through like a call. This is a straight text. Hear me out. I think you should make an OnlyFans singing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now?
But these are two different things, though. You were like posing it as like what a lot of people use OnlyFans for. I was saying there is also another lane where you don't have to be that way. And then you could also get some extra money.
Chuck to my guy.
Not yet. I'll see him Friday.
Okay. We have a side hustle.
Funny.
So funny. Yeah, you had to be there. You had to be at that meeting. Do you like speaking of meetings?
Okay.
I think we're very productive with ours. I don't think there's ever been a meeting we've had where it just didn't go anywhere. Like we always talk.
It always goes somewhere. You repeat yourself a lot. So there's sometimes where I'm like, I got you the first time.
I do that because and he knows this. It's not for him. It's for my sanity to know that it's instilled in reality. Like I like that. Oh, that was a quote. That was a quote.
Are you snapping to yourself right now?
Yes, because
if this is a clip, I'm gonna have Andy turn it off. Like I'm gonna have him delete it.
What? Like if I make this a reel?
Yeah, if you make this a reel, because you're like, oh, look at my quote that I just did.
I need to make a quote book, and that's going in it. But I don't even know what I just said. But if you know me, one of my biggest things is like I'm a control freak, but I'm also someone that like expects things to be done when we talk about it, and not like 6 years after. I've had a lot of people do things that are like, I'll do it, and it's like, I'm birthing a child at this point. Like that's by the time you give it to me, it's gonna be like I'm gonna have 6 kids. So, but I also am OCD. So whenever I say what I'm gonna do it, and I have like 30,000 things I'm thinking about. So like, and like even like Kezia, like I'll be like, Kez, this is all I have to do, right? Like I will list the things that I have to do, and I'll repeat it so many times, so that way I know like that is all I have to do. Like this is what I'm working on. This is it. That's it, right? And so like when we talk, I'm like, this is all we got to do, right? Right? So we got to do this, and I will repeat it, but it's just to like ease my mind. Sometimes it has nothing to even do with him. It's just like, and he gives me a lot of grace.
Yeah, it's just I'm a person that's like the first time, like unless like I genuinely like didn't hear you, I'm not asking again. Like it's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Let's
But
see what
I
we're
don't
doing.
I don't say it because I doubt you. I
No,
know
I'm
people
not
that
saying
have
that
done it to
either.
you because
Yeah,
they
no.
doubt you.
And I'm
That's
like,
different. I say it because I'm like, oh, this is what we, and normally it's not like you're gonna do it. Like it's more like, okay, Carson, this is what you want me to do. Like this is blah 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 blah. This is like it's just
mhm.
me easing of my
Transfer the funds
responsibility.
into my account, and then I'll accrue interest, and then it'll be great. It's usually like what we're talking about.
Yeah, because he does a lot.
I don't get paid.
Well, if you stream my music, he gets 20%. So do it. For Carson's sake, do it. Do it. You know, Carson,
What do I know?
I've been thinking.
Good. That's a good thing to do sometimes.
I've been thinking, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Just give it some time. What's gonna happen? It's gonna happen. And this is the proof.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite things about Teona is she'll just say things and expect you to understand the context by which she only knows because it's only in her brain. And I'm sure all of you are mad confused about what is going to happen and just pointing to the camera and be like, because this, you know?
When it happens, I'll let y'all know, but this is the proof. Someone complimented my jacket today.
A lot of compliments today, huh?
Yeah, it was the Kanye West one, which is controversial, I know, and I said this to her. She's like, Pablo, that's my man. And I was like, it's controversial. I was told not to.
I don't know. I don't think it's super controversial.
Well, I feel like if you say you're like obsessed with Kanye, depending on the person, but like the way I see it is like I can separate music from crazy. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, to sit here and say that he's not talented is like it's
It's dumb.
bizarre. Like I just think that's bizarre. I also think that
I think the most crazed people make the best art.
100%, especially look at when he's made his art is when he was off his meds.
Yeah.
But he is so talented. He actually said it. He stated that he doesn't like taking his medication because it actually hinders him from creating.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Kanye, he's so good.
But I will say his newer stuff, I don't know.
Well, because, there's so much going on.
I don't know if it's so much going on. I think I can tell he's going a different lane than what he normally does, which is fine. I'm glad artists are doing that. But the songs he's been doing recently, I've just kind of like, my eyes kind of glaze over.
Would you argue he's better than Jay-Z? Or would you argue Jay-Z's better than Kanye? Personally, if you couldn't tell by my jacket, it's the Pablo jacket. It's actually my ex-boyfriend's.
Nice.
Yeah, but I
think they're both two different, like, of course they're both kind of in the same genre. I think they're both different things. Like, I know Kanye produced for Jay-Z before, so like I know there's like sonic similarities to it. But like I don't kind of like, of course they're in the echelon of rappers and everything like that, but like I don't really like pit them up against because I just feel like they're their own thing.
They're their own, but I think I like more of Kanye's stuff than Jay-Z, but I can argue, like, I know that he's talented. Like, I know that Jay-Z is like insanely talented.
Yeah.
I just think that Kanye is like, has made more in sense of like, this is going to be my hot take is like, I think Jay-Z has followed the route of being what's the word? Like, he's now more, oh, that's Beyonce's husband. Oh, it's like Jay-Z was Jay-Z, but then like once he was with Beyonce, it's like they're tag team now. And like that's how I associate him now. A lot of people do. But Kanye is just like, yeah, sure, him and Kim had a thing, but like Kanye's known like Kanye's Kanye. Like that's it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I get that. I think also too what you have to realize is like, yeah, Kanye has done some behind the scenes things, but like Jay-Z's doing a lot of work. He's just doing it more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He's not going out always putting out Jay-Z things, whereas Kanye, that's all of his content.
yeah. I mean, before like no one knew. I loved his documentary. I thought his documentary was insane.
Genius.
was
Yeah.
genius. It
No, it was
was
very good.
literally so
It was
good.
very fast. I watched it all within a couple days because it was so fascinating.
Like the fact that he, I didn't know Kanye was writing beats for. I didn't know that. Like
Yeah.
I found that out with this documentary. I was like, wait, he wrote beats for Jay-Z. Wasn't taken serious, like in a sense of like wasn't, and that's like inspiring too. But then on top of it, his freaking camera.
Yeah.
Like
Cootie.
Cootie literally was like, I believe in you so much, I'm gonna quit my entire job, like my life, my job, everything, and dedicate it to filming you because I know you're going to make it. That is like true, like that's dedication.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like Carson is my Cootie. Carson dedicates his
I feel like I'm more like no offense to Cootie, but like I'm not just like, oh, let me stand in awe of your talent.
No,
It's like
but Carson has never asked for anything because he believes in like the finished result is gonna be like has always I always say to him like, why do you do the things you do? Why do you like even like we could talk about like the royalties, right? Like you don't mind? Does it make you uncomfortable?
a bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like why? I mean, like what story are you going to say? Like
The train one
the what?
where I was like, I just want to do this because like
Oh, is this when you're like offering me a dumb amount of percentage?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
oh, what did you think I was gonna say?
I don't even know, to be quite honest. I'm just not like super into numbers, but I think this story, I even told my dad the story and he was like, "You're a good guy." And I was like, I guess. I don't know. It was just absurd.
Wait, what are you talking?
Yeah.
You're talking about couldn't keep warm.
No, I think it was just when we were talking about like what my splits would be for all of these songs. And then you gave me a number and I was like, no. Even though I could have been terrible and said yes.
What are you talking about? Oh, because I gave you, but I did do that.
Yeah, but you initially were like, I'm going to give you 40%. And I was like, you definitely should not do that.
No, I said that I was gonna. We were talking. Okay, I don't think I said 40.
You definitely did. I vividly remember this.
I said
I
if
was,
if you asked me for 40, it would be up for debate. But like I wouldn't.
No.
The reason I remember.
No,
Okay.
you were like 40? And I was like, no.
I don't know what that was for, but I remember not the split. I remember, so the way that royalties work is like you give a percentage and like there's a flat fee. You can explain this so much better than I can. I'm going to keep talking, like explain it.
I don't know where you're going with it, so I'd rather you just keep going.
Basically Carson, if you could do like that like thing, that's where we have to do it. So basically a producer should only get no more than 10%. Like 10% is still like is a lot for a producer. So when we first started making music together, this was after Broken Glass because Broken Glass was its own thing, but we started working like nonstop. And I started seeing that's like where I'm saying with Carson's dedication and like love, like this, it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna work for an hour today and that's that. No, he works 24/7 and will do anything I need him to do that's not even in his freaking like resume or job title category, whatever you want to say, whatever words you want to use. Carson, can you please take content photos for me? Yes. Can you please do this? Can you do like I wouldn't even have a podcast if it wasn't for Carson. So like looking now, I would give you fucking 40. I would give you 40% because like back then I didn't even have half the things that I have now because of him. But I'm rambling. It's my love is coming out. My passion is coming out for you right now. But I said, like, and a lot of people, before talking to him, really were like, think about what you're doing. And I was like, well, you could, like, the way, I'm not going to tell you who. But, a couple people were like, you sure you want to do that? Like, some professors. Because, so I said, I called him one day.
Wow, Christy, really?
And I said,
your own student?
So I said, I called him one day and I was like, it was really heavy on my heart is the fact that I really wouldn't have anything. And so I said, I'm going to give you 20% of like each song that we do. You could change this. But in like the way we are right now, I knew in my heart, I still believe that. Like it's only what you've proven to me through the years is I wasn't crazy or dumb. Like what you've proved to me was no, 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 no. I did the right decision. Like I made the right choice. Because the thing is, money, it does like affect people. Like it really does have an impact on how people think. And me and him have the same kind of mindset when it comes to money. We don't, and so, but money does do a lot of things. Especially Carson takes things out of his own pocket to be able to create the music that we're doing and vice versa too. But it's one thing for me to want to do that because it's my, it's my dream. For someone to go and be like, no, 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 I want this just as bad as you do. Like that, it only and it shows it to me consistently. I, till this day, do not regret ever doing that. Like I don't sit there and I'm like, screw you. Like you ripped, like I made a wrong choice. I've never had to second guess the decision. And I knew in that moment I would, I like sat there for a little bit. I took people's opinions, but I kept saying no. Like, because we also went to Berkeley. So like you're also getting the textbook of why you don't give someone more percent. You're being taught 10% is more like too much. And I sat there and I was like, I just still think like Cootie, like the work he puts into it, the dedication, the freaking sweat, all of it. Like it just every day and moving to LA, even more. If you turn around and was like, I actually deserve 40%, I would give it to you. I know that you were like, that's crazy, but genuinely on camera for now, we could change that. We are able to change it. It's not permanent, but with where we are right now, like he's never proved to me that like I would. Like honestly, like I remember someone asked me for passwords to something, like so like BMI and all. And I was like, why would I? Like, I think the only person truly that as of right now that I would give my passwords to. I remember I was like, Carson doesn't even know my passwords. I was like, but yeah, like, thanks for being the best.
Thanks, dog.
Thanks, dog. You're my dog. And I'm yours. We're dogs together. Woof, woof. But genuinely, I mean that. I feel like sometimes when that sounds so wrong. I feel like every time I'm with Carson, I'm like, I love you, bro. I know Lindsay might think that this is like my love letter to you, but it's not. Lindsay, I love him. Just not in that way. Yet.
Another example of zero context, and you got to piece it together.
Lindsay's his sister-in-law. And she thought that we were together.
In college.
Because we danced together. And then I ripped my jeans after. Yep.
Yeah.
That was a good day. Is there anything you miss from college or no? You're just like, I want to stay in LA. Guys, Teona, Zach, talk to T. I ramble. I go from like one thing to another. So now we're moving forward. Now we're going back to Boston.
I think they pieced it together. They're competent adults. I think they.
Yeah, like.
Is there anything I miss from college? Like I miss my cousins and stuff over there.
Kevin. Do you want to tell that story?
What
like how
story?
Social I am? And how me and Kevin bonded.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I want to tell it because I don't even think you're gonna do it justice.
Well, because you were the one watching this whole thing unfold.
Yeah.
And you were like, really, before he starts, remember 2 podcasts ago, I said that I talk to anyone, anything. I don't care. Like, I will stop in the middle of a hike and like look at a dog and be like, ah! And then talk to the owner. And then like I know the owner. And then next thing I know, I just love talking to people. And like I said, won't ask you for what's your favorite color. I'm going to ask you deep things because I want to know the answer. So this is a story demonstrating that I will ask deep things.
Yeah, so I have some family over there. One family member was nice enough to take both of us out for lunch.
Love him. Love Kevin.
And so a part of their family is they adopted a girl when she was 16. And so we're all just sitting there and you're just finding more out about Kevin. And then you go, do
I
you?
asked him though. I said,
Okay,
"Do
let
you?"
me
Well,
let me
you
tell
make
me
it
the
sound like I just
story.
was like, "Oh, you told me." Then we got into the conversation
Yeah, no, let me.
about him adopting.
Yeah, and then you just go, yeah. So do you think your daughter actually loves you? And like
It's a
I was
true question.
mid bite, and I was like,
He literally stopped.
but yeah, I was just like, that's
Here's my reasoning.
I think we all understand. You're just saying the things
That no
that
one.
we get in our brain, but we have the sense to be like, I'm not gonna say that.
Well, because I didn't think it was a problem. I was curious. I was curious. Here's the thing. I'm, the way that kids work is like after the age of like 10, granted, like I know, like, for example, not the same thing with adoption, foster care, but like when my dad left, like if my mom ever dated someone and a man told me at like 16 what to do, I'd be like, yeah, okay, you're not my dad. So like that mindset, like after a certain age, like a kid, and I had people who were going through the adoption process, so I also know like their experiences with like when you adopt a kid that's, older, they look at you as if like, who are you to tell me what I'm going to do, because I've been doing this thing called life by myself for so long. And so like I would think the same way. Like I know I'm stubborn, so I'd be like, who do you think you are telling me, like, or like, so my question when he was explaining to me that, all this stuff, my question came from, well, do you think she actually like respects you and loves you? Because like, you just came out of nowhere, like, like you just were like, oh, you're mine now. So what, like that was my thought process, because it wasn't even like I genuinely wanted to know, because I know so many people that struggled with that. And you know what? He would stop mid sentence. Kevin's a real one. Kevin gets the whole like deep. We had a deep moment right there because Kevin answered it, and he was just like, you know what? You're right. I could see what like really just like answered it, and I was like, that's my guy, because he was like, you know what? Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. He told me something. I was like, yeah, we didn't think it was up. We understood. We understood where we were going. But this is just an example of like things that I would ask. Like, I'm glad to know Kevin. Kevin's a great guy. Love him.
Yeah. No, I think really that's the main aspect. The thing about Boston being there was just like I just felt like I was at boot camp, and I'm still at boot camp really right now, but like everything just felt fake to me. So like every class
Mm,
that we took was really just a project that it's not really going to go anywhere. So eventually, like once you kind of get your footing, know what you want to do, then you're just kind of like, what? And I had my epiphany, like my going into my junior year, where I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to play drums and I want to produce. That's it. Like that's all. Like screw everything else. I don't want to songwrite. I don't want to do any of this other garbage. Like this is what I want to do. So like once you get that, and then I kind of realized I was like, well, I'm in Boston, like, and I'm doing all these classes. Whereas, like, because I remember after I had that epiphany, I went back from the Netherlands to go to school, and I told my parents I wanted to drop out because I was like, how about I was like, if college is really like a number one thing for you two, like, I will go to a community college in Los Angeles. But like, what is the point of me sitting here in Boston waiting for a career to happen 2 years later?
yeah.
So for me, like those last 2 years, sure, they're productive. They were good learning experiences. Like, I mean, if I didn't like go back, I wouldn't have had my thing with Broken Vanity, wouldn't have continued to develop with you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, it was just like this all just feels fake, and like I feel like I'm competent enough to go and like do what I basically did a year ago from now, which was move here and just like figure it
Mm-hmm.
out from there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so so yeah, I mean, like, granted, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am now if I didn't do that. But um, yeah, I don't know. So like the last 2 years, I was just like, and I'm not like, you know me, I'm not like a huge party person. So like, it wasn't like I was like, oh, like my college like fun experience was
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
I was there to work. Like I'm here to like figure this out because like this is what I moved here for.
yeah,
If I wanted to move to have a good time, I would not be in Boston.
yeah.
So
Well, I love Boston.
I know you do. There's aspects I like about it. I just don't think like if I were to ever go back, like one, I wouldn't be where Berkeley was.
Yeah.
Like I would be out in a different neighborhood, and like then that would really inform if I really like it or not. Um, but like I need to figure out what that would be. But like realistically, with the career goals that I have, it's not in my cards.
Do you feel like you have embodied Los Angeles being here now? Do you feel like this is less fake to you?
I mean, like the people are super fake.
We just you
I
said bam.
but I mean, I guess in terms of like actually pursuing something, this is a lot more real. So like everything that I do now actually seems really purposeful. So like that was my main
Mm,
problem was I was just like everything just feels like a project I'm going to get a grade at the end for, and then it's just going to be a song maybe my parents listen to.
yeah.
So whereas this, I feel like I'm actually moving towards something. There's some projects that I do that I'm like, I don't really know where it's going, but like I'm gonna roll the dice a bit. But like, no, everything seems really purposeful, even though like I understand really I'm not gonna harvest any of the fruit until a couple years down the line.
Mm, no, I see. So, like I said.
What about you? Do you feel like you've embodied here?
I think so. I think that actually like I think like there was a moment a couple weeks ago where I was driving and I was like, I've finally let go of the idea of that control of like a time. Because I think moving here, I had a, I do subconsciously like there is something that I tell myself,
Yeah, you just make up fake deadlines
and it always
that
has
like
wait, but ironically, it always works out. But it always does. Ironically, I've said like in so many areas of my life, I've given myself like I'm religious, so like I've been like God, like show me something in this way, and normally like it does like there's something that is shown to me in that deadline or something like it has meaning behind everything like but and I still with this deadline do believe there's a reason I felt that number. And someone from Boston actually reached out to me and was like, you have this number in your head, but what I was lacking was I was looking at this number and not going to take in anything else around me. It was like, no. I like how you said you came here to work, blah, blah, blah. Like I was only looking at that destination. And what was so funny is like everything that could have happened to deter me from that was happening. The vocal injury, the things that I was like, what is going on? Like I can't do what I literally came here to do. And so it was giving me more anxiety because I was like, well, I have this number in my head and I need to like I was giving quote unquote like God a deadline. I was giving God like, well, this is why. Like I was leading myself and not letting God lead me. So it took a while for me to like actually sit there and be like, well, I have to take in like you planted me here. It's not there's so much more to just that, and you're gonna show it to me. And so for a moment, I genuinely like when I released the reins of like that control, I started seeing like things unfold in such amazing ways that I do because I remember just saying to myself, I'm going to still settle with having a life here aside from just one thing because there is going to be a life. Because I always say, like we've talked about it, is like I don't ever see if you ask me if I would stay in LA, I don't hate LA. I just would never raise a family in LA. As of right now, I don't see myself ever raising a family. But like being young and doing all this, like it is good. It is a good city to do that in. It's just fucking expensive. But like it is like a legitimate, like if you're young and you're trying to just find yourself and you're like, this is the best, this is like the networking freaking city. And so I saw that and that's all I was looking at in a sense of like, well, I came here to do this. Like this is what I'm going to do. Whereas like I started seeing like, so many deeper things being built and finally realizing like I actually have a life here. Like it's not just I
yeah.
came here for music. I actually have like the one that I said before, like girls night. I looked forward to that. Like I'm like, oh my God, like I'm gonna be around my girls. I'm gonna finally like talk. Like and I didn't, 4 months ago, that was all I wanted was like I wanted to feel like I had a life outside of it. I just wasn't allowing myself to. And a part of that feels like maybe if I do, it's going to be harder to like leave because Boston was that for me. Like I didn't like Boston when I first went to Boston and I created a life. And he always says like no matter where I go, he's always been like Teona will find people and Teona will, because I am a social person and I love people. But a part of me looked at Los Angeles with a deadline that I was giving myself was like, well, I came here for that. Like, that's my main priority. And I wasn't allowing myself to take in anything else, especially because we were doing so many things all at once and so much was happening that I almost feel like the things that were bad, I always say what that like what is intended for evil, God will use for good. And I was like seeing that there were so many setbacks, but they weren't really setbacks. They were actually building my character and letting me have the life. And now recently I really was just driving and I was like, I've actually feel like I belong, like I meant, like I always knew I was meant to come, but it was finally something where I was like, I have a life here. Like this is more than just like music. Like I actually have something here right now.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. Like,
yeah.
I'm very thankful for that. Because aside from me and like you, right? We do our music. I sit there and I'm so sorry I didn't do movie night with you yesterday. I was dead. But like I sit there and I'm like,
I knew it was gonna happen.
yeah. I knew that you knew because you didn't text me. I didn't get a text. When I woke up, I was like, oh wow, he really did think that I was gonna fall asleep because where's my text? Like, are you coming? But even like moments like I cherish like me and you having like movie nights, talking at the kitchen when we're eating dinner. Like that, like there's so much more to us than just that. And I look and I'm like, wow, like I actually have like a roommate that's like my bestie. Like, but I cherish that and I love that. And that's like a part of my life in LA. Like that's gonna like if we always talk about moving to Europe, like that would make me like as much as like I love that, like that's like, oh, like that part of now what is Los Angeles to me would be away.
Yeah.
You know? And that means that's because I obviously, I don't know if you know, but I obviously love you.
Yeah.
So
love you too.
We do have to have a movie night. I told you after next week, I'm taking Carson out.
Yeah, she just said very inconspicuously, I'm taking you out. And I was like, can I get some more context? Like, what's going on? And you were just like, no.
I'm just taking you out. Like, I don't know where we're doing. Like, I'll give you 3 options. You could decide. But, like, I'm taking you out.
Sounds good.
Like, I'm taking you out. Like, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Like, this is me. We'll do a podcast about what I did, what we ended up doing. But
yeah,
I'm taking you out.
Sounds good.
So yeah, that was that. I don't know how much we've been talking. I feel like we just talk.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you think that LA is like, you're finally like liking it more than just like work?
No, this is just where I work.
Oh.
Like, I mean, like that's not to like dismiss like hanging out with you or anything like that. That's not what I'm implying.
We're not going out. I'm not taking you out.
No, what I'm saying is like, no, I think realistically when I have days where I don't have work or like I got ahead on everything, like, and I don't know if this is just something I need to work on with myself. It's just like I just have nothing like else. Like I literally just live to work right now.
And that's where we've always been very different. I think that's why we do balance each other out because like you were like that in Boston though too. Like you had like your goals and
yeah. I mean, like truthfully, like that's all I care about right now. Like even like someone asked me, they're like, "Oh, are you like trying to date?" And I'm like, "No, like
I'm trying to work."
Like I was like, I genuinely don't have really any time to do that, or at least be a good partner or boyfriend in that regard.
And that's another thing about him, ladies. He ain't gonna waste your time. So this is Tinder with T.
Tinder with T part 2. But no, I don't know. That is like if you want to go to therapy with Carson, your next segment. It's just,
therapy with Teona.
No, it's just I've lived all of my adult life just trying to reach this goal. So now that's like how my brain is wired. So even today, like I was supposed to go into work today, and then my boss texted me at midnight last night. Just kidding. And then I'm gonna come in tomorrow. And like I woke up this morning and I was like, what am I gonna do? Like I actually was like, I don't.
You can go for a bike ride.
A little bike ride.
Like in Santa Monica.
Oh my gosh, how
like
cute.
There's so much beautiful things to do. I'm so like a hippie.
Yeah, like, but that's my thing though, is it's just like I found things to do. Like I did my checklist for a good day is as long as I played drums and I worked out is like technically I think it's a win for the day. But that's all like solo stuff and that's sad. So like
he's looking at me and I'm like
I know it's not great, but
We're working on him. That's why I'm taking him out next week.
yeah,
I'm
but
taking you out
great.
because I want him to live. I always tell him, and this is one of my biggest things as an artist, I was very shocked when my mom told me this years ago, and I was like, but again, and also I think that's also different in the careers we're in, is like the artist creates, like, the producer is always behind the scenes, whereas like I always yell at him for this too, though, is like, for you to create, you have to live. Like, that's on my end. Like, I want to do all these things so I could write. I used to make the joke, like, sometimes I do it for the plot just because song gonna come out of it. Like, and so I can't just, like, if you put me, if you're this type of artist that could just sit in a room and write, God bless. I'm someone that needs to live, experience, and I will write, and I will get these ideas, and I will get this motivation. Like, because I always say everything I write isn't fake. Everything that I've ever released is something about me, something that I've experienced. So, but Carson, we're going to get you there. Like, that's why God made us friends. Because actually, one thing that I will say is, for the most part, anytime I invite Carson, which I invite him for a reason, but anytime I invite Carson or give him an idea of something to do, he is always down to do it. Unless he has to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning for something, he is always down to do it. Always. I could be like, hey, we're going skinny dipping at 8 o'clock at night. I think this would be good for you because you're young. He's gonna do it.
I would do that. Are we doing that?
We could do that. You want me to put that into the itinerary for next week?
I don't know. I feel like that'd be crossing a friend boundary.
Oh, that's crossing a friend boundary?
We would never come.
Right.
We would never come back from. I don't think.
Oh, but Toad Hill, that was fine. Toad Hill was obviously
inadvertent.
I don't know that word. What is that word?
Didn't mean to.
Well, you had to be there. But
nothing is sacred.
Yeah. Well, realistically, Toad Hill is Staten Island.
Yeah.
Because that's the richest part of the neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I'm like, if you're from Staten Island, you'll get it. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. He's down to do what because I'm also the extrovert to the max, and he's actually always telling me, because he knows that I get high off of people, like my social battery. Like, I do cherish my alone time. Like, if I go missing, I'm always at the beach or doing something by myself. Like, even getting my nails done. Like, I don't want people around me. Like, but he's always telling me, you need to, like, chill, relax, like, take in your rest. I'm always telling him, like, you need to, have fun, be young, stop worrying about music. And so we balance each other out in that way, because we remind each other of, like, that. But I take him out in the town sometimes. Like, I'll be like, Carson, let's go get In and Out. Let's get fat. Because
get fat.
Because he's a healthy looking guy. So
yeah, I think that's also too. I don't like going out too, because then
I know.
Like, and it's just like I've worked for this goal, and for me to now and take on a lifestyle where I'm trashing that goal.
That was not a lifestyle. It's like simple times. Balance. Balance. If you didn't hear from last week, it's called balance.
I edit all of these. I heard it.
But we're going to end here with, I am going to make Carson, there's a reason God made us friends.
Yeah.
So random too, how we became friends.
It is random.
And so aside from working, we balance each other out. And next week, I'm taking him out. I'm going to make an itinerary, and it's going to be a full day.
Great.
I'm going to have to find when we could do this full day, but it's going to be a full day. And if it's not, it's going to be a full late afternoon night.
Great.
I see him in the morning anyway. I see him every day. So thank you so much for watching Talks with T. Always a pleasure to have Carson with me. I feel like we always go very long. We have so much talks.
Yes.
So
lots of talks.
Lots of talks on and off camera. But we love you. Thanks for being real ones.